Hey everybody! Welcome to my Suburban Oasis. It's nice and sunny outside. I should probably have some sunglasses on, but I'm trying to film these videos for you without them. It's really hard. Anyways, today I'm actually working on some plants that I got from Lowe's on sale because they got hit by some of the frost and cold weather that came through. So I'm just going to clean them up and then plant them out in the beds. If you're enjoying this channel, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, or even hit the notification bell to get notified of any new videos. Alright, let's take a look at some of the plants that I got here, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. So here's a couple that I have cleaned up already. These are Dianthus, and they are proven winners, Fruit Punch Classic Coral, and they are like a double Dianthus, and they grow though up to about 10 inches tall, so they're a little bit bigger than some of the ones I have in my yard right now, but they have a really nice blue-green foliage, and the spacing is about 12 inches apart. They're hardy in my zone, which is 5B. They are hardy all the way down to zone 4 and good up to zone 9. And they bloom in the early summer and they rebloom in early fall. So what I find is that they kind of sparsely bloom throughout the summer, and then they bloom a little bit more again later on. They like full to part sun, and I typically do plant these in a more sunny area. And they actually have a really nice fragrance to them. They're just like mini carnations, but they smell so much better than the ones that are in like a floral shop. So these two have been cleaned up already. This is what they look like when I first got them. Not bad, but you can see there's some requirements for some pruning and deadheading, and I'll show you a little bit of how I do that, and then we'll plant some of these in the yard. Okay, so I want to get nice and close up on here, so hopefully you can see what I'm snipping. And some of them also got damaged, so we'll see that there are stems that have been broken, which means that the water can no longer get through the stems up to the ends to allow them to flower. So you have to definitely cut those off. And the best way to do that is to just go back to the nearest node, which is where the stems comes out and the leaves are, and just clip right above that. And so it may be hard for some people to do this kind of thing because they look like they're clipping flowers off their plant, but again, this is a rebloomer, so even though this is a very beautiful flower, you could clip it off and you could actually put it into a vase if you wanted to, but I'm not doing that today. I'm just snipping them and smelling them when I cut them off, and then I'll enjoy them while they are in the ground. Here's one that's down in here. There's definitely some frost damage here, and these two are spent bloom, so I'm going to go all the way back to this leaf node down here. Then I'm going to check out the blooms right here. These look like they definitely got some frost damage as well, so we'll just clip all that back. Now we have a bent stem over here, so again, clip that down to the next leaf node. And so I'm just going to be going around and doing that. This one here is bent. Actually clipping that one back a little further. And after I do this one, we will plant these in the yard. I'll show you where I'm going to plant them. I'm actually pretty excited about putting them in. We might get one more frost, but it will not be a hard frost. I say that now, and weather can change kind of crazy in Michigan, so I could be wrong, but so here you see this plant has a spent bloom over here and one that was damaged by the cold, and then a nice bloom over here and another bud coming behind it. So I'm going to clip back to here. And hopefully that one will still be strong enough to continue. That way I'm keeping as many flowers or blooms, buds that I can on the plant, while taking off the spent ones and putting all of the energy back into the plant to develop new buds and have pretty blooms with the flowers that are still in good shape here. This one is bent way down at the bottom, so I'm gonna have to cut it so far back. Yeah, I might have to go through this pile and look for some of the nice blooms that have some stems on them still. Put them in a vase. They do smell quite lovely. And this is a color that I don't really have in my garden. The Dianthus that I have right now are mostly like a dark pink or a pink and white. And not all of them are double either. So, and I really like the fullness of double flowers. So I was super thrilled when I saw these. I actually got 6 of them. I did leave some for other people as well, but I definitely took a little over half of what was on the shelf. I just couldn't pass it up. At $4 each, I figured it was a nice little project to sit outside and do. Just takes a little bit of time to make sure that they are cleaned up well. You know, and the nursery likes to see their stock goods, so they like people to come in and buy their discounted plants that don't look as good as the other ones. All right, I think this one looks pretty good. So, oops, here's another one over here. You can tell when they're white that they're pretty much fried and crispy inside there. So now I have 3 plants that have been trimmed, and I will show you now where we're going to put them in the landscape. Okay, so I have an area over here where I planted some very small plants that have not grown in very well so far because I just planted them either last fall or this spring. I have some little millennial alliums in here. I have a little salvia right over here. There are some purple coneflowers, or actually they might be, oh my goodness, what are they called? Cheyenne powwow, something like that. Coneflowers here, and then right back here, which you can't see very well either. So I just want to fill it in with some flowering foliage, and because these act so much similar to an annual, rather than using an annual, I'm going to plant some perennials in here, and we'll get these 3 planted, and then after I clean up the other 3 plants, I'll probably also scatter them a little bit further down in the bed this way to just kind of tie it in and provide a little bit of color along the way until things start to fill in. Okay, so all I'm going to do is pull back some of the mulch that's around these areas that I'm going to plant. I will dig some holes, put a little biotone in the bottom to help with the root development. Looks like these were grown primarily in peat moss and they are incredibly dry. So I'm going to make sure to give them a really thorough watering after I put them in here. Here we go, in with the biotone. So this is part of the bed in which I have been fighting the invasive bishop's weed, which is also called ground elder. And it's a variegated, like light green, light white plant. And in addition to that, I had gotten some of these anemones, and they were also incredibly invasive. So this is really just will be my first full year of having this bed semi-plantable after clearing all of that out. And I'm gonna be watching it very carefully for signs that it's coming back. Get that worm back into the soil there. Because if I even see one or two of the leaves, and I have, I try to pull them out to make sure that any roots that are underground that may be trying to develop are weakened, because if they don't have leaves, it won't be able to photosynthesize. Looks like I have one more flower here that I need to pinch off. Actually, a couple that I missed. That happens. I just use my fingernails a lot when that happens. It's similar to deadheading. Alright, I do have a small Dianthus here, but it's not worth much. I don't know if you can even see it. It's like teeny tiny. So I don't think it's going to be very happy or grow. And then back behind that I have a little mum here. So that will come up and bloom in the fall after this is all done flowering. So it makes for a really good succession planting. Again, going for that kind of non-stop garden where you get some flowers almost all the time in foliage. Okay, so I found one tiny part of it, so that's gotta go. Just going to pull the whole bottom of these roots off of here because they're not really being very effective. Alright, little biotone. Push some of this mulch around it. You can see there's one of my little cone flowers. It's very hard to see, but it's right here. It's already windy here today, and the forecast is saying that we're going to get up to 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So I'm not real thrilled about that, because I don't know about you guys, but as I said in some of my other videos, I have just had the windiest spring here in Michigan. It's kind of been a bit of a pain. Makes things a little more challenging to get done around the yard, for sure. Again, with this one, I'm going to take some more off the bottom. I probably should have done that with the first one. Checking the soil for little pieces of roots from the invasive plants to make sure I don't repot any of it or replant any of it. Yeah, and I think maybe I'll put another one right back here, and then one over there, and maybe one back in this corner, and that will be all 6 of them. That will look really pretty in this bed. right, I'm gonna go clean up the other ones and then we'll plant those 3 and I'll show you how it looks. Well guys, here we go. It is now complete and planted, and I think it looks so much better because it just looks more lush and full. I really don't like having bare spots in my garden because I feel like all that does is invite weeds and plants that you really don't want to see there. So we'll take a closer look here so you can see. These are planted right around a birch leaf spirea that is it should have an arching habit as it grows with some pretty white flowers. So we'll see if it blooms this year. I don't know, maybe some of the buds have been burnt off by the cold. And then I planted some bulbs back there, and you guys, I cannot remember what they are. I think they're probably some kind of allium, and you can see the spikes with the buds that are about to bloom, but I cannot remember the name of them for the life of me. So I'm looking forward to those actually blooming just so that I can remember what they are. But I think this peachy coral blue looks really pretty amongst the gold of this false cypress here. And the color of the, what's it called? Peach cobbler? No, classic coral. It's called the classic coral. I think that also is just a really nice contrast, and it will be really nice planted underneath of this hydrangea, which is I believe it's a strawberry Sunday hydrangea, so it's a paniculata. And then we have a couple of clematis or clematis that grow up this trellis behind here. So really a nice spot that I feel much better about now looking at, and it's just gonna fill out nicely. Well, thanks you guys for joining me today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, I'll see you next time. Bye!